They remember the version of you that struggled. They remember the version of you that doubted. They remember the version of you that almost quit. But what they don't know is what God has been building in secret. You didn't disappear. You went into development. 2026 is not about a glow up. It's about a comeback so unrecognizable that people will question if you're the same person. There are seasons in life where growth demands silence. Not the silence of fear or withdrawal, but the intentional silence of focus. When everything in you wants to explain, defend, or prove yourself, maturity teaches you to step back and let development speak instead. Silence becomes a boundary that protects your transformation. In that quiet space, distractions lose their grip, external opinions fade, and you finally hear what truly matters. What looks like disappearance to others is often the most productive season of your life. Growth that lasts is rarely loud. Public progress can attract applause, but private discipline builds endurance. When no one is watching, your real habits are exposed. This is where character is formed, not in moments of recognition, but in unseen consistency. Silence strips away performance and forces honesty. You stop pretending and start becoming. The need for validation weakens and purpose takes its place. You begin to understand that explaining yourself does not accelerate your future, improving yourself does. In quiet seasons, clarity is sharpened. Without constant noise, you recognize what needs to change and what needs to be released. Old mindsets, emotional attachments, and unhealthy patterns rise to the surface. Silence reveals what activity often hides. It forces you to confront weaknesses you previously ignored and strengths you didn't know you had. This confrontation is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. You cannot transform what you refuse to acknowledge. There is also a spiritual dimension to silence. When external voices quiet down, internal alignment becomes possible. Direction becomes clearer when distractions are removed. Silence creates space for reflection, prayer, and intentional decision making. It teaches patience and trust, reminding you that not every season requires action, some require preparation. Waiting does not mean stagnation, it means refinement. The pause is not punishment, it is positioning. People may misunderstand your silence. They may assume you've lost confidence, motivation, or relevance. But growth does not need an audience. The seed does not announce itself while it is underground. It simply grows. Silence protects the process from premature exposure. When things are shared too early, they become vulnerable to interference. Growth needs privacy before it needs visibility. As you remain silent, discipline begins to replace emotion. You stop reacting to every opinion and start responding with intention. The shift strengthens emotional control and mental resilience. You learn to move strategically instead of impulsively. Silence trains you to listen more than you speak, to observe more than you assume. This awareness becomes a powerful advantage. When the season of silence ends, the change is undeniable. Not because you announced it, but because you embodied it. The growth that happened quietly now speaks loudly through your actions, decisions, and consistency. What once required explanation now requires no introduction. Silence didn't delay your progress, it accelerated it. Pain often arrives uninvited, and when it does, the first instinct is to question it. Why did this happen? Why now? Why me? But pain is not random, and it is rarely wasted. It carries instruction even when it feels overwhelming. What you endured was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to develop you. Pain has a way of exposing what comfort hides, revealing the strength you didn't know you possessed and the weaknesses you needed to confront. Pressure is one of life's greatest teachers. When everything is easy, growth is optional. But when resistance appears, adaptation becomes necessary. Pain forces you to mature. It pushes you beyond surface level belief into deeper trust, beyond shallow effort into disciplined commitment. Every setback demanded something from you: patience, resilience, humility, endurance. And each time you chose to keep going, you were being trained for something greater than the moment you were in. There were lessons that could only be learned through difficulty. Confidence built in comfort is fragile, but confidence built through pain is unshakable. Pain teaches discernment. It shows you who is truly with you and what truly matters. It strips away illusions and exposes reality. What once seemed important loses its power, and what truly carries value becomes clear. Pain recalibrates your priorities and sharpens your focus. Training is never comfortable. Muscles grow through resistance, not ease. Endurance is built through strain, not rest. In the same way, the weight you carried strengthened your capacity. What felt like too much was actually expanding what you could handle. Each challenge stretched you, increased your tolerance, and prepared you for responsibilities you couldn't have managed before. Without that training, elevation would have overwhelmed you. Pain also teaches empathy. When you've suffered, your perspective changes. You become more aware, more patient, more understanding. You stop judging journeys you haven't walked. This emotional intelligence becomes part of your strength. It allows you to lead, support, and influence with wisdom rather than ego. Pain humbles you, but it also equips you. There were moments when the pain felt unfair, when progress seemed invisible and relief seemed distant. But training is not designed to feel rewarding in the moment. It is designed to produce results later. Every tear, every setback, every disappointment was shaping your endurance. You were learning how to stand when everything in you wanted to collapse, how to continue when quitting felt easier. That endurance cannot be taught any other way. When you look back, you may realize that pain didn't take as much as it gave. It gave you depth. It gave you discipline. It gave you discernment. It refined your character and strengthened your resolve. What once wounded you now fuels you. The pain did not disqualify you. It prepared you. Transformation begins in the mind long before it shows up in behavior. Life rarely changes until thinking changes. You can enter a new year, a new environment, or even a new opportunity and still remain the same if your mindset is familiar. Real growth requires mental renovation. Old thought patterns, limiting beliefs, and internal narratives must be confronted and replaced. Without this internal shift, any external progress will eventually collapse under the weight of outdated thinking. Many people desire a new outcome while clinging to old perspectives. They want growth without change, success without sacrifice, elevation without evolution. But the mind sets the ceiling for the life. If your thinking is small, fearful, or reactive, your actions will follow the same pattern. Transformation demands awareness, recognizing the thoughts that sabotage progress and the habits that reinforce them. Until you identify what needs to change internally, you will keep reproducing the same results externally. New seasons require new language. The way you speak to yourself shapes the way you move through life. Internal dialogue either empowers or limits you. When your words are rooted in doubt, your actions hesitate. When your language aligns with purpose, confidence grows. Changing the way you speak is not about pretending. It is about aligning with truth. What you repeatedly declare becomes what you consistently believe, and belief directs behavior. Habits are the visible evidence of thought patterns. If thinking does not change, habits remain intact. Transformation is not about occasional inspiration. It is about intentional repetition. Daily decisions, even small ones, compound over time. Discipline replaces emotional reaction, and intention replaces impulse. You stop being controlled by circumstances and start responding with strategy. This level of self-mastery begins with mental clarity. Renewed thinking also changes how you interpret challenges. Instead of seeing obstacles as threats, you recognize them as opportunities for growth. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond purposefully. This shift creates resilience. You stop internalizing failure as identity and start seeing it as feedback. Growth accelerates when you learn from setbacks rather than being defined by them. Mental transformation requires letting go. Some beliefs once protected you, but now they restrict you. Survival thinking may have helped you endure, but it cannot help you thrive. Growth requires the courage to release mental patterns that no longer serve your future. Comfort zones are mental before they are physical. Breaking free requires confronting fear, uncertainty, and resistance from within. As thinking evolves, behavior naturally follows. You move differently, choose differently, and respond differently. This is when change becomes sustainable. Motivation may ignite the process, but mindset sustains it. When thinking is aligned with purpose, consistency becomes natural. Transformation stops being forced and starts being embodied. The most powerful shifts are often invisible at first. Others may not notice the internal work you are doing, but it will eventually reveal itself. A renewed mind produces a renewed life. When thinking changes, everything else follows. Real transformation is not driven by feelings. It is built by discipline. Emotions are unpredictable, but discipline is dependable. There are days when motivation is high and progress feels easy, and there are days when energy is low and quitting feels reasonable. Discipline is what carries you through the days when passion fades. It is the commitment to show up, execute, and stay consistent regardless of how you feel. This consistency is what separates temporary change from lasting results. Discipline is not glamorous. It does not seek attention or applause. It operates quietly in routines, habits, and repeated decisions that no one else sees. It is waking up early when comfort calls, saying no when convenience is tempting, and choosing structure over spontaneity. These choices may seem small in isolation, but over time they compound into visible transformation. Discipline is the bridge between intention and outcome. Many people wait to feel ready before they act, but discipline acts first and allows readiness to follow. Progress is rarely the result of perfect conditions. It is the result of consistent effort under imperfect circumstances. Discipline trains you to move even when resistance is present. It strengthens your ability to delay gratification and prioritize long-term vision over short-term relief. This mental strength becomes a defining trait. Consistency builds credibility. When you repeatedly honor commitments to yourself, confidence grows. Self-trust is formed when actions align with goals. The discipline eliminates the internal conflict between what you say you want and what you actually do. Over time, this alignment produces clarity and authority. You stop relying on external validation because your results speak for themselves. Discipline also creates structure. Structure reduces decision fatigue and increases focus. When habits are established, energy is conserved for what truly matters. Instead of negotiating with yourself daily, you operate from systems that support growth. This removes chaos and replaces it with intentional direction. Progress becomes predictable rather than accidental. There will be moments when discipline feels restrictive, but in reality, it creates freedom. Without discipline, emotions dictate behavior and inconsistency limits growth. With discipline, choices become intentional and progress becomes sustainable. Freedom is not found in doing whatever you want. It is found in becoming who you are meant to be. Discipline makes that possible. Results are the natural outcome of disciplined living. When actions align with purpose consistently, growth becomes unavoidable. The effort invested during unseen moments eventually produces visible change. Discipline ensures that the work continues even when recognition is absent. It trains patience and reinforces resilience. Over time, discipline reshapes identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who tries, but as someone who follows through. This shift changes how you approach challenges and opportunities. Discipline is not a limitation, it is the foundation of every meaningful comeback. Growth has a way of revealing who and what truly belongs in your life. As you evolve, some relationships naturally shift, strain, or even end. This can feel painful, confusing, and at times lonely, but it is a normal part of transformation. Not everyone is meant to accompany you into every season. Some people were assigned to a chapter, not the entire story. Letting go is not a failure, it is alignment. When standards rise, compatibility is tested. Growth changes your values, priorities, and boundaries. Conversations that once energized you may now feel draining. Environments that once felt familiar may now feel restrictive. This does not mean you are becoming arrogant or distant. It means you are becoming aware. Awareness creates separation, and separation creates space for what aligns with your future. Many people mistake loyalty for obligation. They remain connected to relationships that no longer serve growth out of fear, guilt, or history. But growth requires honesty. You cannot continue expanding while carrying emotional weight that keeps pulling you backward. Releasing connections that limit you is an act of self-respect, not betrayal. It is choosing direction over comfort. As you change, resistance may come from those closest to you. People often prefer the version of you that fit their expectations. Your growth challenges their familiarity. When you no longer tolerate what you once accepted, it forces others to confront their own stagnation. This discomfort can manifest as criticism, misunderstanding, or distance. But growth does not require permission. Boundaries become essential in this season. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They protect your time, energy, and focus. Healthy boundaries allow you to engage without being drained. They create clarity in relationships and prevent resentment. As your purpose becomes clearer, your boundaries must become firmer. You cannot be accessible to everyone and still remain effective. Loss is often part of elevation. As doors open, others close. This does not mean you are losing, it means you are being redirected. The absence of certain people creates room for new connections that align with your growth. These new relationships often support your vision rather than question it. Alignment brings peace, even when separation brings temporary pain. It is important to release without bitterness. Growth does not require resentment. Gratitude honors what was while making space for what will be. You can appreciate the role people played without forcing them to remain in roles they have outgrown. This maturity allows you to move forward without carrying emotional baggage. As you step into higher levels of purpose, your circle may become smaller but stronger. Quality replaces quantity. Support becomes intentional. Growth does not isolate you, it refines your connections. What remains is aligned, supportive, and sustainable. A true comeback is not fueled by the need to prove anything to anyone. When life becomes about validation, growth becomes fragile. Approval is inconsistent, opinions shift, and applause fades. Building your future on the reactions of others creates pressure that eventually drains purpose. Real transformation begins when you stop performing for acceptance and start living from conviction. The comeback that lasts is rooted in purpose, not in proof. There is a quiet strength that emerges when you no longer need to be seen. When your identity is secure, recognition becomes optional. You stop chasing attention and start honoring assignment. This shift changes how you move. Decisions are no longer driven by comparison or competition, but by alignment. You measure success by integrity and impact rather than popularity. This clarity protects your peace. Trying to prove yourself keeps you tied to the past. It keeps old wounds open and gives critics influence they do not deserve. Purpose, on the other hand, pulls you forward. It redirects energy from defending yourself to developing yourself. When your focus is clear, distractions lose power. You stop explaining and start executing. Progress becomes more important than perception. Purpose also changes how you respond to doubt. Instead of reacting emotionally, you remain steady. You understand that not everyone needs to understand you. When conviction is strong, opposition becomes irrelevant. Silence becomes a strategy, and consistency becomes your response. Over time, your life speaks louder than your words ever could. There is freedom in releasing the need for revenge. Proving others wrong may feel satisfying for a moment, but it cannot sustain growth. Purpose offers something deeper, fulfillment. When actions are aligned with calling, success feels meaningful. You are no longer running from insecurity or chasing affirmation. You are walking toward intention. A purpose-driven comeback is often subtle. It does not demand attention or seek approval. It is revealed through discipline, stability, and steady progress. Others may not notice the shift immediately, but the results will eventually become undeniable. Purpose produces fruit in its own time. When purpose leads, confidence becomes natural. You move with assurance, not arrogance. You trust the process because you understand the direction. Even setbacks no longer derail you, they refine you. Purpose provides resilience. It reminds you why you started and where you are going. This kind of comeback brings peace. You are no longer restless or reactive. You are grounded. Your progress is no longer noisy or rushed. It is intentional and rooted. When purpose becomes the foundation, the comeback becomes sustainable. 2026 marks the year where you stop introducing yourself by your past and start walking in your assignment. The pain trained you. The delay prepared you. The silence strengthened you. And when you return, it won't be loud. It won't be rushed. It will be undeniable. Because this comeback isn't about proving people wrong. It's about finally agreeing with what God said about you all along. You're not coming back the same. You're coming back refined. You're coming back rooted. You're coming back unrecognizable. And this time, you're not asking for permission.